Hi, it's Joy and today we're going to be watching The Boys Season 2, Episode 1, The Big Ride. It is time for Season 2 of The Boys and I am so excited. The ending of the last season was fantastic. I mean, the whole season was fantastic, but just the way it all built up and exploded, and it's been about a week since I watched it just because I had to get a lot of stuff edited and I'm desperate to know. God knows how everyone survived when it was the actual hiatus, and I'm probably going to be in the same position in 8 episodes time. So a reminder, as I always say with these reactions, that you can see the unedited version of this reaction up on my Patreon. You can also see the edited version 1 week early. So the unedited version is up on my Patreon 2 weeks early, and the edited version is 1 week early. And every reaction I do is up there as well, you can find. And a bit of an update, I did mention this I think in my reaction to the Season 1 finale, that The Boys is now going to be released both on Patreon and YouTube twice a week. So on Patreon, that means you're going to get episode 1 on the 7th of December and episode 2 on the 10th, and on YouTube you're going to get episode 1 on the 21st of September, not in a year, don't worry, December, and the second one on the 24th, Christmas Eve. So yes, I am planning on binge watching this show over the next week or so, just because that way I'm going to be able to give myself a week off over the Christmas period without slowing my reactions. I mean, I'm not saying anyone's going to be watching me on Christmas Day, but you know, so the content can still be on my channel will still be bustling away, but I can have a break. So I will be binging it, but that does not mean I will not want to read your comments. I love reading your comments. This show has so many different angles and things, and I love it. I am extraordinarily stressed. I kind of didn't think Stillwell would be dead at this point in the show. It kind of, in some ways it makes sense, especially when we met Edgar and saw kind of the actor is quite well known, and Homelander is just as menacing and terrifying as all, and I am stressed but excited to see where this brilliant show is going to go. And it's definitely not one of those shows that's going to give us a nice easy ride, but yes. So without further ado, I have babbled enough, let's go.
Whom exactly do your heroes report to?
Me.
Person as always. Me.
Yeah, I knew we were seeing more of him this season. How much time has passed since the end of the last episode? I know, in the military, often when invading a sort of compound with this many soldiers or whatever, you would need to use deadly force. But I truly believe superheroes, especially when there are gross, no hostages around, could just knock them out and arrest them. Oh goodness. Yeah. Oh my god. Is that his child? Oh my god.
Translucent. Murdered in cold blood by cartels and terrorists.
I know his coffin isn't in there.
Before he left.
But I mean, his body, sorry, isn't in there, but that's so funny that it's just a...
I will save you.
Oh my god.
I'll do it for you. For America.
And for you, Translucent's empty coffin. Oh. You alright? Can you just die already, please? Oh, what leverage are they using over her? Oh no, are they fake together now?
Homelander, Starlight, David.
Please say she's on the inside here.
Well,
what was happening all this time? We left off, and I hate having a time jump after how things left off with basically every character. Oh, sweetheart. Is she undercover?
It's good.
Oh, I'm glad that they're all... well, I mean, 2 of them are still together, and Frenchie won't be far, let's face it.
No one followed me down here, and they can't even trace my chip down here. We're okay.
Oh.
You look good.
I have a choice.
So, I'm so glad they're still working together, but I need the gaps filled in from the time we missed. I'm annoyed at the time we missed.
He's an actor.
He's an actor who didn't lie to my face every day.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
I believe maybe in the future, but we need time. Oh, what is the monster doing? Sorry, watching him suffer does make me happy.
Please.
Oh my goodness.
My baby needs a mother.
In a yard 17 miles away.
These are among the many
Homelander.
Where is he?
Or did the baby, is the Did the baby teleport? Is he
He could
baby
be
brought
dead.
Compound V?
No, he's too much of an asshole. Maybe we could not run.
You are like a record that is broken.
So they don't know, of course,
shouldn't
that
just
he's
give up.
Starlight.
Guys, we get some.
Shut the fuck up! This is over.
I know you've lost your family and you're not in a good place. But I think Kiwi's hoping for a future in which they can be cleared and get their lives back by stopping war. Yeah, you creepy cat. I mean, for one, you know, the weird mother-son lover relationship is done, and I cheer for that one. Don't act sad, you killed her. Oh my god, no. I just said that the creepy mother-son lover stuff was over. We don't need a final encore. I spoke too soon.
Thank you again for recommending me for this job.
Or someone he can control easily.
Butcher maniac?
Where is he? What did you do with him?
No.
Like, did he just leave him with his wife? Like, be happy, stop causing trouble. Is he in a cell? Did he kill him? I doubt he killed him.
That means everything. Coming
It
from
doesn't, because he's Homelander. He's a
Hey
psychopath.
guys, do this.
My god, you're a
Just
psych.
another useless fucking blind guy.
We need to find a way
Joke.
to kill this man. He is
What made you
off
think
the
I would
rails.
ever allow a cripple into the seven? For fuck's sakes, Ashley, don't look at him, look at me.
I decide. Do we have an understanding?
He's even more off the lead. Like last season, he was doing so much stuff behind Stillwell's back and she just thought she had a control on him. But now he's completely off the list. Off the leash, even. Does he cut it off? Oh. Can he regrow a limb? Is that it? I guess at least he doesn't feel it. Much. I mean,
Closest ATM.
that's a very strange need he's fulfilling, but I suppose at least these people aren't becoming serial killers. Don't draw supertage in here, we're hiding from them. Oh god, what's happening? Why is he looking so devastated? Tell me.
What's going on?
That was a nice bit of origami.
He promised me. You're only smuggling guns. Cocaine and
Ooh.
fentanyl, not fucking...
Like human fucking cargo? Jesus Christ, Frenchie.
They didn't tell me.
So,
Ask.
are they human trafficking or is it like refugees being smuggled in?
Term supervillain.
That sounds better to me. More exciting.
More exotic.
He is a supervillain, so he would know.
Our attention.
It's Americans that are gonna keep us in the army, not the fucking world. It's saving America.
Yeah, actually, you can fuck off the rest of the world. We don't need you.
Pull the trigger.
Into your head with a god-killing... I've been reading a book about superpower gods that could be killed. With a soup-killing gun.
Oh shit, you scared me.
That's just Carol. Good friend. Carol, this is the deep.
Is this an intervention?
To meeting you, Deep.
Or is she going to kill him for me? What is happening?
But
He seems like a good guy.
What about me?
How did you end up here?
Arrow bottom.
you
Well,
can tell her, deep.
I'm a self-hating, pathetic man who raped someone. Multiple women, actually.
What? About your drinking, about your self-esteem issues. Really open up, deep.
It's just a weird cult within
I don't have a
supers.
drinking.
It is! It's a cult! A soup cult. I do not like the Archer guy because he's in a cult.
You make this.
Is it like her brother or something? Did they give her brother Compound V and send him here so that she would... Because they lost her. And she was meant to be the soup terrorist in New
You
York.
know something? What boy?
Not her, but boy.
I do not understand. Annie.
Yeah, the girl that saved your lives.
We're getting some Compound V.
Fuck you, are you fucking crazy? Man, are you fucking crazy?
No!
What are you doing?
I know he's lost his life.
Well, I can't finish.
factory doghouse, I will fucking end you.
Like, doing okay, because at this rate you're never going to see your daughter again.
So do it already.
It's not Huey's fault.
I want to get home to my wife and my kids.
How though? How are you going to do that unless you all have fake passports and leave the country together, which I doubt they're going to agree to?
Now all I have is this.
That's the path
This.
Butcher went down. But
It's
at least
really fucking
his
depressing,
goal
but it's
is to
true.
save people here, not just vengeance.
So be Harry Potter. Or, you know, John Connor, or what's her name from the Hunger Games?
Goodness.
Goodness.
Yeah, the point.
There is nothing up there.
Oh, I'm sad that she's
There's
lost
nobody
her
in the
faith.
sky. Deal me a sample of compound V.
I mean, if he agrees at some point, he's going to get killed, isn't he?
I don't know what that is.
See? I put this on Facebook tonight.
Oh, God. I hate that she's lost so much of her faith, but of course she has.
You know who we are. But let's meet another. And now we could use your support.
Maeve, escape,
That's right,
run.
Maeve, with our new
Not a real base. Homelander and hi, my Nana's your biggest fan. I'm Stormfront.
Great.
I'm the new girl. Wait,
Oh.
what are you talking about? Oh, hi, I'm in the 7.
So she had nothing to do with that? Homie is shook. Please let her reveal his under the secret awfulness.
Sorry?
You want to get back together with Starlight?
No, I don't.
Yes. Yes, you do.
I mean, he does, but that's not the only thing
Keep
driving
going this shit,
him.
man. Lander finds out that she's been talking to you, she's fucked. The deeper you keep pushing her
A-Train
into
wakes
this,
up, she's
the
fucked.
deeper in the meat grind she. Okay, so then what's the whole picture?
The whole picture? It's Vought. It's a fucking coup from the inside.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh my god, she's been killed.
Ma'am, your nose.
She's been poisoned. Oh my god. It wouldn't be an episode of The Boys or season of The Boys if Huey did not get covered in blood, let's face it. Who did that?
I have my undying respect. See, I don't think I do.
You really don't, but you don't deserve it. I mean, he's a corrupt man too, because he's making money off all of his money.
Excuse me? Frederick.
He's not intimidated by you, which I like.
Hitler appointed him chief physician at Dachau.
Oh, of course.
He enjoyed a ready supply of human subjects on which
Of
to
course
test
he was a
his
Nazi.
iterations of misconception that we are a superhero company. We are not. What we are, really, is a pharmaceutical company. And you are not our most valuable asset. That would be our confidential formula for compound V, which you, man-child that you are, released into the wild.
I love seeing him get put in his
I know what
place.
you're talking about.
Didn't go the way you wanted, did it, Sunshine? Hate Homelander so much. I enjoyed that scene. I mean, I think Edgar is still a terrible person, but stay away from this child. You're gonna mess him up more than your DNA already has. She was killed for what she knew. No, you didn't.
We did it.
Oh no, he's gonna die, or you're gonna get attacked and go on the run or something.
Nothing. Thoughts just.
Stop lying.
That's all. I'm not.
Huey,
Swear to God.
I gotta go.
I'm so stressed that something's gonna go wrong.
Alright, easy does it.
Hello, nice outfit.
We need a real captain.
What happened to him? Did Homelander just let him go?
But don't you worry.
What happened?
Daddy's home.
Oh my god, that is like, I'm out. Thanks, you know. Getting that passport, I'm off now. I mean, he literally left you all to die. If it wasn't for Huey, you would all still be in Vort's hands and or dead. So I don't mean, I'm afraid Huey, we need to work with Butcher. But don't welcome him back like nothing happened. Okay, so that was a really, really good start to this show. I found it a little bit frustrating just that there was such a big time gap and they didn't do much filling in of what happened. I mean, a lot of it you can kind of surmise, that they just went on the run and they ended up there. We saw that A-Train was still in the coma, but I kind of wanted to be right in those scenes, especially the one with Butcher, I suppose his ex-wife, but his wife didn't got divorced, did they? Hassan Homelander, what happened in that moment? That's the one that I'm in particular desperate to know what happened next. The rest of it I can kind of fill in the blanks. Hopefully we're going to see that because Butcher is now back in the show. So yes, I like that Annie and Huey are working together, that they are still in contact, that they kind of still have that bond, but I'm also so glad that she is not completely trusting him all the time, or that she, you know, is saying like, that hurt me, that happened, it's valid, because it would be very easy for them to have had, oh, she came to save him and they shared a moment, because they did, and she forgave him everything because she understood, but she understood enough that she can work with him, that she is willing to trust him, or try to trust him, as long as he just stops lying to her. I really, really like that moment, basically, the fact that she's kind of, because it's true, I think when people lie to you and hurt you, even if you can kind of understand why, they still did it, and it still hurts, and they reached a point where he knew he could trust her, and he didn't tell her everything, understandably so, but yeah, I like that kind of, it's a sad dynamic, because it's quite a painful one, but it's also very true to these characters, and that's what I appreciated. And then I don't like that he lied to her again, and she knows he did. She called him out on it, he continued to lie, she still knows he's lying. Now, to an extent, I can understand why, partly because he was just so terrified, partly because he's concerned maybe someone's listening, and if she hears about it, she might get involved in that part of it, partly because she's not technically linked to Raina, that going to the CIA lady doesn't seem to have been something he discussed with her, because she wanted to go to the tabloids, or the media, so it's a lot to kind of dump on her over the phone in particular, but at the same time you're not going to discuss that on the subway, so I think it would have been better if he'd said, look, there is something and I will tell you another time, because rather than just lying to her again, especially as I know a part of him would like to get back with her. And you know, I think they have got a truly wonderful connection, that I would root for them in the long run as a romantic relationship, but at the same time, a lot of shit has happened. This show is not like a CW show where actually no, recently with CW shows, that doesn't count either, but not the sort of show where you think the couples you root for are going to stay together or get together. But no matter what, I think they're still being, their sort of care for each other hasn't gone, and that's what I like. I really appreciate that dynamic. Then we have Homelander, who thought he was going to be king of the castle. He thought, you know, still will lie to him, kill her, now he can do whatever he wants. And, you know, he's just so, like, there aren't words to describe how awful he is. You know, I call him something along the lines of a despicable glob of existence, but that's offensive to despicable globs of existence. He is just so awful. You know, he could have been like, I want this loser on the 7, but instead he deafened him or destroyed his hearing so that he's now not, like, he just does things like that so cruelly and carelessly because he can, to prove a point. You know, I despise him with every fibre of my being. And I know he is a huge part of this show, and he does make a fantastic villain, antagonist on this show. Like, he is a super villain. No wonder he knew what they should be called, because, like, that is who he is. But just, I hate him so much. Like, he's one of the characters I hated the most intensely ever, because he's just terrible. But I really did appreciate the scene with Edgar. I love when Stormfront appeared. Immediately I was like, I like her, because she is so not the vibe of the 7. And I think it's really, really interesting that Edgar has chosen her, because when they chose Starlight, they chose a pretty white blonde girl from the South who was religious, who was known for being, you know, all sweet, virginous, religious, you know, kind of, I know they then got her to dress all sexy, I don't quite know what they were doing there, but you know, that was kind of the role they wanted her to inhabit and the role they were pushing her to inhabit. Like, even though she wasn't that extreme of that, yeah, like a lot of that are aspects of her personality, but you know, that they kind of were trying to get her to exemplify that, and now they've gone for this girl who seems a bit more, you know, she's edgier, I suppose, you know, by their standards. She's shaved a bit of her hair, my goodness. I don't know that she's who Stillwell would have chosen, but it definitely seems that Edgar is trying to take this in a different direction. Maybe taking more of an active hand in it than he had before. And her, like, live streaming everything. They are so tight on secrecy. I can't believe they let her do that and show the behind the scenes and that this is all a staged ad and everything, because Raw is very much been about this perfectly curated image. So I do wonder if that's maybe part of a wider move, that they're going to try and become grittier and realer, and maybe they're going to reveal Compound V or something to be like we're being honest with you now. I don't know, but that was just sort of an interesting take. I'm intrigued to see more of her because she is on the 7 now, and we do need someone to replace the Deep. I would like it to be another woman. 4 women to 3 men is what we could do with on this team. I mean, A-Train could die and then we get yet another woman. But yeah, obviously we know nothing about Stormfront. We don't really know her character. She definitely enjoyed pressing Homelander's buttons. Here for that 100%. And I'm hoping that she's going to be another person who will want to do good, or at the very least will not actively want to do bad for power. You know, she doesn't necessarily have to be like someone that is desperate to superhero, but I'd like it if she was. And maybe she'll be someone Maeve and or Starlight can get close to, because yeah. But then the best scene, in some ways, was the scene between Homelander and Edgar. Now, I would like to preface this by saying, I hate Edgar. You know, anyone that works high up in Vought in a position of power, who knows about Compound V, who is giving it to babies, who is lying to the public, who is... Vought is corrupt capitalism at its worst. And, you know, when he said we're a pharmaceutical company, hell yeah, you are. I mean, look at them today. They could just... Anyway, all he cares about is profit and money, and he doesn't care when people get hurt, and, you know, he is a despicable person for working for this company, for the things they'll cover up, for the damage they're willing to do in order to line their own pockets. But I did enjoy him putting Homelander in his place. I was really intrigued to see how that scene was going to go, if maybe Edgar was going to try and take a little bit more of Madeline's, like, oh yes, poor dear, you were right and you were perfect, Homelander. But I love that instead he just put him in his place. And of course Vought was founded by a Nazi, and not even like, I mean, obviously I think a lot of scientists in Nazi Germany were, after the war, were like, oh, I was forced to work for the Nazis, I was in fear for my life, can I come to you? When they were truly Nazis. But yeah, this man was truly a Nazi. He was working on, experimenting on prisoners in a concentration camp, so that's even worse. The Compound V came from experiments from concentration camps. Homelander is a stereotypical Aryan man, so like they even did that when they made Homelander. He is basically attempting to become a Nazi himself. And, you know, like, even the stuff he said this episode about, like, I don't want a cripple on the team, like, that's an offensive term, and B, he was, just because somebody is disabled or has something different about them doesn't mean they're not as worthy or as capable. My god. Homelander is just despicable, but I love that scene and how he kind of said, you know, like, Compound V is... I just love it because not only did he put Homelander in his place by being like, you are not the centre of the universe, Vought is not you, but he also pointed out that Homelander had put Vought at risk through Compound V. Now, I really enjoyed that scene. I enjoyed the fact that Homelander had no comeback, that he was just, that was not what he wanted. Madeline definitely didn't help that with, through her being afraid of him and it being her way of manipulating, controlling him through their creepy mother-son lover relationship, and I do not want to think about that milk bottle. She treated him like he was the most wonderful thing ever, like he was all that mattered. And that really fed into his ego. And so having someone in power now not doing that, I am intrigued about where he's going to take it. But I think one dangerous thing could be Homelander kind of realising, like, no one can stop him. Like, that is the thing with Homelander. He could do he could walk into the White House and kill the president. And how can we stop him? Does anyone have a method of containing him or stopping him? We don't, as far as we know. I mean, it would be great if Edgar could have been like, oh, and by the way, we also have your one weakness. We know that we can kill you if we cut your hair. I don't know what his weakness is going to be. Your Achilles heel. We didn't dip your heel in the Vought Compound V. Something like that. But just, he is so powerful that for all that Vought is like, for all that Edgar is able to be like, oh, you're not the most powerful man, what would happen if Homelander went to his house at night and, you know, threatened to burn his eyes off? Homelander doesn't necessarily have power in the corporate structure of the company, but he is supposedly the most powerful superhero with no way to stop him. So that is just a dynamic that it's going to be very interesting. Homelander was definitely wrong-footed here, but I don't think he was defeated in his own mind, his own pursuit of his own goals. And yeah, like, again, Edgar, as much as I enjoyed Edgar's put down of Homelander, he wasn't upset that Homelander had made super terrorists. He was just upset that he'd leaked the formula that was theirs. I think it would be really funny if Homelander were to steal some Compound V and give it to the government. I'll give it to the papers as like a payback, and then like you'd have Huey and Starlight like, that was our job. I am kind of stressed, kind of going back, I forgot to mention with Starlight, about Gecko getting caught or killed, or Starlight somehow getting found out. And my heart is breaking a little bit for Starlight, because she has had her eyes brutally opened up to the truth over the course of the last season, and in some ways that's good, because she's not just blindly trusting in things that aren't there to be trusted, in Vought, in superheroes, in, to an extent, in God. I mean, I'm not religious, and I don't necessarily think everyone should stop being religious, but I think you shouldn't just blindly have faith. If you were going to be religious, I think you need to really think about it, not just be like, oh, I was raised to be religious, so now I am. I mean, I think that, I hope for her character she's going to kind of start believing in things again, things in general. But what I think shows her strength is that she hasn't let that beat her down. She is going to keep fighting. She is going to try and do good. And how excited, like the most excited we saw her this episode was in that moment when she was like, we've got it, I've got the plan, it worked, we're going to get the compound V, we're going to get to expose them. She still believes in doing good, and that is everything to me. I'm scared for her safety, largely because, again, like, she's extremely powerful. If it was her against, like, an alley of, like, human men, not bothered. But the superheroes are very scary. And A-Train is in a coma. If A-Train wakes up, is he going to remember? If he accuses her, are they going to believe him? I hate that she's kind of had to go along with what they want in order to be under the radar, to be a mole on the inside, you know, dressing the way they want, acting the way they want, because that is how she's more used to them. But I worry about her a lot. I kind of would like it if by the end of this season she's on the run with the boys, just because I would feel happier about her mental well-being in that case, even though I don't know how mentally well any of them are. But also I think it could be interesting if she were to end up on the run with the boys, because they'd have to say Starlight has become a supervillain now, and that would be a really interesting media marketing thing for Vought to have to deal with. I feel like I'm all over the place at the moment, I'm very sorry. So then Ashley should have run for the hills. She knew Vought was a terrible place to work. Why did she come back? Just because it's lots of money, I'm sure. Then we have the boys themselves, the rest of them. I talked about Huey already. Kimiko, I love still. I love that she is progressing, that she is learning, relearning, I suppose, kind of, because that compound V really messed with her. And I wonder if it's, does it kill some of the babies? Does it mess up some of the babies? Does it just not work with some of them? Like the other terrorist we saw get killed, he was like seemingly very able to talk. Or was it to do with the sort of traumatic way she was kept? Because I know in season 1, Frenchie was like, I know you understand me, which doesn't imply that the problem was simply that she didn't speak English, which would be a very valid problem, because they don't speak her language. I can't remember what country she's from. But I definitely think it's her brother, potentially, because the minute she saw that crane, she had this look of hope in her eyes. And we know that she's desperate to go back and save her brother. And, you know, they gave the drug to that terrorist organisation. That terrorist organisation lost their girl, who was going to, their terrorist, that was going to be their terrorist. They were clearly giving the stuff to their more disposable child soldier members. And her brother might have even volunteered for it to get to New York to try and find her. Because from what we saw, they were very close-knit. You know, they truly were all they had left, and they cared deeply for each other. So if it is her brother, I don't think that this particular terrorist is maybe like going to want to be a terrorist. I mean, you know what I mean? Like in the same way that Kimiko isn't desperate to go and start being a terrorist. I hope that maybe we can save him. That would be good. But I also don't know if that would be a place we can go. Maybe he has been radicalised in the past months. Maybe he was always more radicalised than her, or Compound B messed him up differently to the way it sort of messed her up. I like that she was trying to communicate with Frenchie, that she was able to write a word, and, you know, it wasn't a word that got through to him because he's being stupid. I mean, okay. I don't, maybe it isn't her brother, but the level of excitement she has, the crane, her saying boy, who would get her that animated? I just, come on, Frenchie. You'd at least consider maybe it was her brother. But I still really like their bond and their relationship. And, you know, they've had quite a bleak time, the boys, where they are living in this sort of drug dealer's den. It's not exactly the height of luxury or just comfort and safety and security. And they were people smugglers as well. Stressful. I'm kind of sad that he was just so angry all the time this episode, but I definitely think he is someone that made choices that he now regrets. Was kind of coerced a little bit, but he made those choices. But he made choices to try and do the right thing, to try and stop bad people from doing bad things, and those choices have backfired and caused him to lose his family potentially forever. And his face when he found out his daughter was doing soccer, oh my god. But it's just, I hate how angry he is. And I, like I said, when I've kind of been getting cross with him and telling him, like, oh, stop being angry, it's not Huey's fault or whatever, I'm not really, like, angry at him, because I know that he is kind of in a very broken mental place, in the same way they all are, but everyone deals with things differently. And he knew going into this that could cost him his family, and it did. And his family is now in witness protection of some kind. And in a way, him building that doll's house breaks my heart, because, and him saying to Huey, like, if I don't get to finish that doll's house, like, you're going, like, there are far bigger problems on your mind. If you'll be dead, you'll be in prison. You know, it's not like if the dollhouse is finished and Vought kill you, they're going to go, oh, this dollhouse is for his daughter, I'll just take that to her. Like, I get that that's kind of how he's processing losing his family, is that he's making this thing for his daughter and it's going to be perfect and she's going to love it. And it's heartbreaking that he's going through that. It really is. But I really hope he's going to kind of come through it and either get on board with trying to make the world a safer place for his daughter and trying to take Vought down so that the world is safe and he can go back to his daughter, or leaving and just getting a fake passport, maybe trying to get one for his family as well and getting them to go and leaving. But it hurt to see how angry he was, especially because last season, while yeah, at the beginning he was angry when he saw Butcher and he was angry when he saw Frenchie, he really wasn't the most vengeful, anger-filled one. He was more rational, or more considerate of the dangers and the consequences and of losing yourself to the rage and the vengeance and the anger, and it's sad to see him in this place now. I hope he's gonna find his way through it. Then Butcher, appearing at the end wearing his strange outfit and being all like, hey boys, nothing's wrong, I didn't leave you all to die. And again, like, even in a sense him leaving them behind, I can kind of get, because like Huey's plan was very risky. If it wasn't for Starlight, they would all be dead or captured or dead again. But I don't want Frenchie and like MM to be like, hey Butcher, nothing bad happened. Like, I think they kind of had them like embracing him and walking him in to sort of emphasize Huey being like, Huey tried to step up and be like, I'll be the leader, I can do this, I have a plan, and then someone died and now they're like, you don't have a plan. Huey and Butcher actually left things off on a bad note because, like, you know, never come near me again or good luck or whatever, you know, like they properly broke up. So it's definitely going to be tense, especially as Huey sort of tried to assume a sort of leadership role. He was the one behind the escape. He is the reason that those three are out of Vaught's hands. So I don't think realistically they're going to totally forget that. I think potentially because Butcher is always the one that comes up with such big plans, maybe they're going to kind of push aside the resentment they feel towards him, but it's going to be even more than it was last season. And I do need to know what happened to Butcher after that moment when he saw his wife with Homelander's son. With Homelander. Did Homelander sort of let him go because it's funny? Because, you know, he's broken him? Does he think because, like, this was a man whose whole life is built on vengeance against the murder of his wife, and his wife left him and was living happily ever after with a kid? Again, I still don't think that doesn't mean Homelander raped her, but you could see how that would sort of destroy Butcher's worldview, because he's done all he's ever did his whole life, given up his whole life to this vengeance quest, and his wife was okay. But I could also see it being that Butcher kind of run away and Homelander didn't bother chasing him and is cool with him just being hunted down. And his name, you know, is perfect for a manhunt, Billy Butcher. But I mean, I'm excited to see more of him and his character and where we're going. And so what happened with Raina? It definitely doesn't, I mean, Huey didn't cause that, I think. Potentially, like I said, if someone was listening to her, then they'd have heard her say that and they might be being tracked by them, I don't know. But it was definitely, she continued looking into Vought on her own. She continued looking into it, despite the fact that on the phone she was like, sorry, you're fugitive now, see ya. She continued looking into it. She saw that there was some kind of coup going on inside Vought. Now, is that Edgar shaking things up? Is that what Homelander's up to? Is that something totally unrelated? Is it just Vought itself is going to try and, like, have a coup by getting in the military, then taking over the country and running America? I don't entirely, obviously we don't know what she means, that's the whole point, that's why she was killed. And, you know, it wouldn't be the boys if Huey was not, didn't have someone's body or head explode and get covered in blood and have chunks of body in his hair. Just wouldn't be real. I wasn't necessarily expecting Raina to be a big part of it, but I still wasn't expecting that. Even when she started to bleed, my stupid brain was like, oh, she's just been poisoned and it's going to have like a very normal poisoning response, not explode. I need to wake up and remember I'm watching The Boys. But that was shocking and traumatic again for these characters. And, you know, we kind of had last episode Huey dreaming of running away with Annie and starting a normal life and never having to see someone get brutally murdered again, and it's already happened again, but he's much more mission oriented now, understandably. But I fear for all these characters and how the hell this show is going to go and where this show is going to go. All the Deep I almost forgot about. He is being indoctrinated into a cult. My god, just kill him. Can this be a cult that likes to do human sacrifices sometimes? When you can just sacrifice the Deep and then we can all just forget he existed. You know, he definitely is someone that could have benefited from therapy that like actually helped him, rather than just a counsellor that Vought no doubt paid to just tell him he was wonderful. But the fact that he took out his insecurities and any mistreatment he's had on other people and hurt them, and the way he hurt them is despicable, and I do not feel sorry for him. He definitely hit rock bottom, and I was like, oh, maybe this arch guy's going to be a good soup, yay, but he's in a cult. That is terrifying. My god. So I'm intrigued about where that storyline's going to go, but I'm also very scared. And lastly, we briefly saw Black Noir. He's still someone we know nothing about, and I know that's intentional. Like, we don't know anything about him because they don't want us to know anything about him. He's not been a character they've explored. But who the hell is he? I mean, he dealt with a terrorist very well. He carried the guy's head in to the kid, his kid no doubt. That child not only heard all the fighting, but does now see his father's dead. He is going to grow up to be a very messed up individual in so many ways. And then he was like, look at the cute toy. I need to know more about Black Noir. So yeah, this was a brilliant episode. It was a really, really good opener into the show. I don't think it was my favourite episode of The Boys so far, but I think that was just the kind of, oh my god, like what's happening? Like, you spent a bit of it trying to catch up rather than being like immersed in the plotline, because part of my brain was always going, but how did they get there and what happened there and is that okay? But I think it's definitely off to a really promising start, continuing the strands it left off last season and strengthening them and weaving them into something even more exciting and terrifying. Quick reminder as usual that if you are watching this on Patreon, no, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can find it unedited on Patreon along with the next 2 episodes, and you can also find episode 2's edited version up on Patreon now already as well. So yeah, this is a brilliant show. Thank you so much for watching.